Hi, I'm Sally and this is a tutorial for my Mr. Messy design. You will need a lot of pink bands. I'm using a hot pink colour and 2 black bands for his eyes. This was a request from my sheep tutorial, which the sheep is based on Mr. Messy, as I said in that one. So let's make a start on Mr. Messy. So taking your loom in the staggered configuration, arrows pointing towards you. Actually no, sorry, we're going to use our hook first. We're going to make his hands. So taking a band, a single pink band, double it over onto your fingers and you're going to wrap this around your hook 3 times. Like this. And then taking a single band, doubling it back on itself, hooking this over the end of your hook and holding it with your finger. You're going to slide these bands onto this band. It's quite difficult to do just because they're so tight. But trust me, it is perfectly doable. Something's gone wrong there. I think that's okay. And then just place the other bands. Something's gone wrong with this one. I'm going to do it again. You will need to make 4 of these if you want to go ahead and make them. This one's gone a bit strange. So I'm just going to do it again. So yeah, go ahead and make 4. You'll need 4 for each hand. So I'm going to show you how to make one hand and then you'll need to make another one. So if you just want to carry on and start on the second hand, if you're quite quick at this. That's got it. And then doing the same. So band, double it, round your hook 3 times. 2 or 3 times, it depends on your bands. If you have very small bands that aren't very stretchy, then you may need to do it fewer times. If you have very stretchy bands, you may need to do it more, but on average, your normal bands, 2 or 3 is normally about right. So there's 2. So his 3rd finger, just keep these all on your hook. Or if you don't have a very big hook, you can just place them to one side or possibly get them around your loom. They should stretch that much. Or put them on a holding hook or whatever works for you. But my hook's big enough to be able to keep all 4 on. What I do use sometimes, as I've said in other tutorials, is these little plastic hooks. I do get them in with my bands sometimes, and they're good for holding things as well. So I do have quite a lot of them, so that's how I use them. Save just throwing them in the bin. And that's my guinea pig drinking, in case you're wondering what that strange noise is coming from the background. There we are. So, 4 Mr. Messy fingers. Now we're going to take double bands, so 2 pink bands together over the end of your hook, secure it with your finger, and just slide each one of these fingers onto these 2 bands. Like this. Like that. Straighten them out so it looks like this, and then just hook that end on to your hook and just centre them a little bit so it hangs, so it sits straight. So you should have something that looks like this. And now we're going to make his arm. So now taking your loom, you're going to go down twice with double bands. I'm going to do it towards the end of my loom just so it's easier to attach his hand. So like this, and we're going to pop his hand on this end pin here. So stretching it out and placing it over. Put his hand straight, and you're going in through his hand, just pull it back, and you're going to get those bottom 2 bands and hook them straight, like so. So when his arm's finished, it should look like this, and you can just keep this down the bottom of your loom. As I said before, you will need to make another one of these. So he has 2 arms. So if you pause the video, make another arm, and then when you're ready, come back and I will show you how to make his foot. So his foot. So again, double bands, placing them along the first and second centre pin, and then we're going diagonally from the side second to the centre second. Same the other side, and I'll show you what I have so far. So it looks like this. And now we're going to finish it. We're going to finish make it a diamond shape by putting double bands here to here and here to here. Like so. And then on this centre pin here, we're going to place a cap band. So single band wrapped around the pin 3 times. And then once you've done that, going in through the cap band, pushing it right back and taking the top 2 bands, bringing them around the pin and hooking them onto the pin where they've come from, sorry. Same with the other 2 that are in that peg still, and hooking them over like this. Going round the 2 side pins, hooking them into the centre, like this. Then you're going to go inside this pin here, which is your centre second pin, and hook those 2 bands up. And they're the 2 bands that have come from this pin here. And once you've done this, if you just place your finger over the end here, you can remove it from your loom. And again, you can place this at the bottom of your loom, and then you'll need to make another one. So he has 2 feet. And the last little bit we're going to make is an extension piece. And this, I don't know if you can see because of all the bands that are all around it, but this will help to give it a rounded shape around here, rather than making his body look straight. Whoops. So we are going to go, oh excuse me, we're going to go down 4 times with double bands on our loom. Like that. And then taking a single band, we're going to double it back on itself, and we're going to place it over this end pin here. We're going to do the same for the 3 above it, and these little loops will secure this extra row onto the rest of his body. And again, you will need 2 of these. So once you finish making this one, if you pause the video, make the other piece of this, the other one of these, and then come back when you're ready. So just treat this doubled over band as a cap band, go inside it, push it back and loop forward. Same on the next pin, so you're only bringing the bottom 2 forward. Same again, like so. So as you can see, you've got the bands on these, and then again this can be placed towards the bottom of your loom, and that's just slid straight off my hook, so just be careful. So if you pause the video, and then when you've got 2 arms, 2 feet and 2 extension pieces, if you come back, and then we will make his body. So Mr. Messi's body. taking 2 single bands, we're just going to place them loosely over this top centre pin, and then we're going diagonally from the side first to the centre first, same the other side, and then we're going down 6 times with double bands. That's 3. 4. And 1 more. And I'm going to do the same down the other side. Like so. So you should have something that looks like this once you've done down both sides. And now we're going to go down the centre 7 times, I think it is, down till we finish on this peg, which is diagonally below where we finished at the sides. And there is no reason why you can't do him multicoloured, or blue, or red, or any colour you want to. But as in the books and the TV programme, I do believe, he's pink. I'm doing him pink. But you get quite creative with him. So you have this, and then we're going to take double bands from this pin to this pin, and this pin to this pin. Like so, pushing the bands down, and then this pin here in the centre, we're going to place a cap band, so single band 3 times. 1, 2, 3, push that down, and then we're going to make his legs. So we're going to go down with double bands 2 times on each side. So 1, 2, and same the other side. And then we can attach his feet, and these will act as cap bands. So taking his feet off of the bottom of the loom, we have here, it's going to stretch out these bands. There should be 4 bands, or 4 bits of bands, so 2 bands doubled over, and you just need to push them so they're sort of squished between the 2 pins. And I'm just going to find my other one and place that on my hook. And squishing it down, so that'll help to hold it straight. So we have Mr. Messy Body with feet, and now we are going to attach the extension pieces. This may look complicated, but it is quite easy to do. So you take your piece on your hook, and you're going to attach it to the 2nd pin down, so this one here. So the end that's on your hook is going around that pin, like so. Turn it around, you might be able to see a bit easier. And then pulling it down, you'll be able to see these little circles within this piece, if you can see, there. And what you need to do is take the 2 parts of the band of this extension piece, which is easier said than done, and you're going to loop this over the next pin down. So as you work down this piece, you find the loop and you just work your way down your loom. So each one in a row has one of these little loops on until you run out of loops, and then the last loop at the bottom just goes around that last pin. So it looks like this. So your last loop is going the pin above where your leg starts. So it should look like that. and we're going to do the same on the other side with your other extension piece. So, taking it on your hook and stretching it out over that second side pin, and then work your way along, finding the little loops, and whoops, push them over. And it isn't helpful when your loom decides to slide around the table. You may find it easier, if you are struggling with this, to take this bottom loop and attach it over the pin where it's going to end, and then it will help to hold it sort of next to the pins, and then you can just pull out the loops and loop them over. So that's on there like this. So it should look like this with your extension pieces on. And now we're going to pop the arms on. So taking your arm on your hook, if you find that I'm going too fast and I'm getting ahead too far for you, then please just pause, and then when you're ready, just come back. And the arms are going on the third pin down. I think they're going on the third pin down. Fourth pin down. Put them on the fourth pin down. Either way is good, but fourth pin down sort of centres it a little bit, because it's sort of in the middle of his body at the side. So we'll put them on the fourth. There we go. So there's him with his feet and his legs and his extension bits to make him a little bit rounder, and his arms. Next thing is his eyes. So taking 2 single black bands, and I've got 3 there. You're going to wrap these around your hook 3 times. Do the same again. So you have the 2 bands wrapped separately around your hook. Then taking the pink of your body colour, or whatever colour you're using, the end of your hook, hold it on with your finger, just slide these bands over. Oops. There are 2 bands on there on this. There we go. And these are going across the third pins on each side. So just going straight across your loom. Separate the eyes out. And then taking your hook, in between these 2 bands in the middle, just lift this top one over that pin. And now the fun begins. Same as it did with the sheep. If you've watched the sheep, you'll know what's coming. So now we're going to add all the loops around the side. Now to do this, you will need to take, you can do this either on your fingers or on your loom, whichever's easiest. You'll need 4 bands. And now to do it on your loom, you can just stretch them over, all 3 bands, and feed this band through one side. If you can see what I've done there, of the bands, and then remove it and add them on. Or if you want to do it on your fingers, it's the same idea. You can just take them on your fingers, stretch them out, and then just wrap that band around one side, and they'll look like that. And you can just place that at the side. Now if you want to make all of these and then come back, you can. You will need 24 of these little clusters in total. If you want to do it as you go, then that's absolutely fine as well. I have already made my other 23, so I'm going to go ahead and just put them on. So if you want to pause and make them, or just do it along with me, that's fine. But what I'm going to do is, starting on this top centre pin here, I'm going to add 2 of these little sets of 3. Sort of put one at one side, one at the other, and then on the next pin I'm only going to put 1. and then I'm going to do 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1. If you want him to look more messy and have more rings around him, then, sorry about my guinea pig, he's very noisy, then just make more and add 2 on each. If you want him to look more sparse around the edge, then just put 1 on each. It's entirely up to you and what you think looks the best for your Mr. Messy. And you're just working all the way around with these loops. Just push them down as you go and try and stop them just popping off, and making sure that the rings that are in the cluster don't go over the pins. Just try and keep them all out to the side as best you can. Once we've done this, we will be adding the triangle bands across him, so it will help to hold them on and stop them just coming off. So don't worry. But we're going all the way around on every single pin around the outside of him. So I did 2 on that one, so I'm going to put 1 on here. And don't go down his legs. So once you get to this point, you want to go in towards where the cap band is. And actually what I'm going to do, because we're putting these on here, I am going to remove this cap band because I don't think we need it really. Because these loops will act as a cap band. And it's just fewer bands to have to fight your way through to find the bands underneath when you're looping. So 2 down there and 1 on there. And 2 on this one. So it's a bit tedious, but it's the whole point of him, is he looks messy. So we're nearly there now. I'm nearly there now, and I hope you are as well. It's not difficult, it's just time consuming. Quite easy to do, it's just, if you've got big fingers you might be struggling with this a little bit, but smaller fingers shouldn't have too much trouble. Or medium sized fingers come to that. Right, so there's the last one on. So I'm just going to tip him up slightly so you can sort of see the idea of what he should look like. I don't want to tip him up too much in case my bands fall off. And then once you're at this stage, we can add the triangle bands. So taking a single pink band, I'm just going to place this in a triangle and then I will show you what I mean. So it's going across, a pin at either side and 1 in the middle. And we're going to carry on up the loom, not putting one where the eyes are, but putting 1 above the eyes. Because where the eyes are will act as a triangle band, and this will just help to pull the rows all together so you don't get gaps and the rows don't sort of separate, because it doesn't look too good. So you should have 5 triangle bands plus the eye band on, and this will now hold in each side 1, and it's just 3 at the top that aren't secured at the moment, but they will be when we start looping. So once you're at this stage, you're ready to start to loop. So going in through his foot, pushing his foot back, and taking the 2 bands underneath and just loop them forwards. And just mind those little loopy bands, like that. Same again on the other band of his foot, just looping forwards like this. I'm going to do the other foot, the other leg. They've crossed over. There we go. So the legs are done. Now we're going to go in through this centre pin here, push back the 2 loopy bands and try not to push back too hard on them because they will move. If you find it easier, I should have possibly said this earlier, you can knot the bands. However, I have made my original Mr. Messy that I showed you was with the bands knotted. So for instance, you take your 3 bands, you place them across the pins or your finger, and then you put them through, but instead of just leaving them loose, if you can see, instead of leaving them loose, you can make this into a slip knot, and then you can wrap this band around the peg a few times to make it tighter. But I found doing that the bands, I don't know whether it's my bands or the way that you do it, the fact that it's knotted, I find that the bands break really easily, and every time I pick them up, bands fall off. So it could just be my bands. My bands weren't very good when I made him. I'm just looping up the sides now. So it's entirely up to you if you have better bands. But I think one did fall off earlier when I showed you him, and that's why. So it's your choice. You can try it, do some and some if you want to, just to trial it. But I'm doing mine this way because I've made my sheep the exact same way with them looped like that, and I had no issues with the bands falling off the sheep. And they've been kept in the exact same way in an airtight container. My bands have fallen off that pin, so I just had them in a minute. So, trial and error, I guess. So, I've gone all the way around, from this pin all the way around, looping up. I'm just going to make sure that none of these bands are caught underneath these loops. So just pulling them out, pulling them out, pulling them out. And where this one's gone tight round here, when you remove it, they will become loose again. So now I'm going to go up this side, and those bands have looped over, which is not helpful. The only ones that aren't secured, actually, saying that, are these ones here, because the eye band's underneath. So, pushing all bands back, you only want to loop the bottom 2, and there's only one there. I'm just going to find the other one. There it is, tied in under there. They seem to want to be done singly today. So you're just working your way up each side. You can go up the centre, but I prefer to go around the side and just make sure that all these loops are looped in and not going to fall off. But as you go, in case you didn't realise, and I'm sorry if you've already done it and you've looped something that shouldn't have been looped, you're just going through, you're pushing back all the bands that are holding on these bands, the arm bands, the triangle bands, pushing them all back and just looping the bottom 2. So I do apologise if you didn't realise and you've gone ahead and looped a triangle band or something. So sorry. I do apologise, and I do know how annoying it is when you have to go back and do it. But also doing the bands with the bands like we've done with it wrapped through without knotting it, I've also found that it makes the bands not so tight around the pin, so it's easier when you loop up, and the effect's the same. So once you've gone around the sides and you've pulled out all these bands, just carefully, just make sure they're not all caught in, because they do move around. You should have something that looks like this. I'm just going to go up the centre now, and then we can tie him off, and he's done, pretty much, I think. He's a very noisy guinea pig. Never known a guinea pig to be as noisy as him when drinking. And then under all of these loopy bits here, when it's all looped up and you've got teardrops and you can see there's no loose bands underneath, you want to find these bottom 2 bands and make sure they are the bottom 2 bands and not one of the loops. Taking your hook in through this top pin, pushing all of these bands back, you want to find the bottom 2. Just manoeuvre it whichever way you have to. I do apologise, he is so noisy. And then just put both ends of it on your hook, pull these out of the way, and then just make a slip knot by putting the top bands over the bottom, making sure that none of these loops get caught up in that, and pull. And there we go, and these bands will just disappear into the general messiness of him, so you won't have to worry about tucking them away. And once you're at this stage, you can remove him from your loom. Carefully. And here we have our Mr. Messy. So just pulling these bands at the bottom through where they've got a little bit tight, and just sort of pulling them around a bit and just adjust how you want him to look. And that band's caught there, like so. And there we have our Mr. Messy. So just pull the bands around, just put them forwards, play around with him till he is how you want him to look. Possibly the other side. The other side might be better, it's sort of reversible. Just adjust the side of the eyes. One Mr. Messy. So I hope you've enjoyed making him. I do have other Mr. Men tutorials on my channel, and there will be a Mr. Bump and a Mr. Tool added probably about the same time as this one actually. So yeah, please click like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. By subscribing you will be notified when I add, that is the word I was looking for, when I add new videos. I'm also on Instagram at Sally's Looming if you want to share your finished creations with me. And I also am on Facebook. If you search Sally's Looming, all one word, and you will find my group on there where you can sort of join in general looming chit chat. You can request. You can also request under this video, or on Instagram, or anywhere you like. Just let me know. And I think that's about it. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.